What's happening? We are here with Paramore. Big show tonight at Mohegan Sun Arena. We're fired up. Tiffany, who's recording right now, is fired up. She's a big Haley Williams fan, so
Hi.
we're all happy.
Hey.
We're all happy to be here tonight. You know, you guys have been on tour for a while now. You saw my friends in Austin a couple weeks ago, and they loved you. They thought that your performance, I think it was at Austin 360. Is that what you guys
yeah.
They loved the performance.
So cool.
Yeah, they said it was really cool, and they were big fans. So you guys have been on tour a while. What's it like to be on tour for such a long period of time?
Mix of emotions. It's every night the shows have been so amazing, like really, like so even if you're having like a rough day or you know you're tired or sick, all of us have sort of been kind of sick on this tour at different points because it's been a long one. But the shows have been so good, they sort of re-energize you, and it's been so amazing to see old fans that have been coming to shows for like 8 years now, like since the first time we came to these cities, and then brand new fans. Like every night when I ask people who's never seen us before, it's almost a bigger response than the people who have seen us. So it's great to know that like we're still recruiting people into our family.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that's the thing is that we noticed when we were talking to a lot of people that are going to meet you later with our KC 101 meet and greet, that people were really pumped up to meet Paramore. Like, you know, when you see all the artists that come through, a lot of pop artists, they come through and people are like, oh, I'm excited to meet them, but it's not that big of a deal. People are really pumped up to meet Paramore. So
That's awesome.
that's a really good, that's a really good thing, and I think that you guys really do a good job connecting with those fans, and that's why they keep coming back. Now, Haley, what's going on for you? Not only are you doing this whole thing with Paramore, but you're on Stay the Night, which we're playing with Zed, and
Awesome.
you did B.O.B., you did Airplanes. What's it like to kind of step out of the mainstream rock, pop-ish genre and go into the dance or even the hip-hop arena?
Yeah.
Like, what's it like to work with those guys?
It's awesome. I mean, the three of us all love so many different types of music, and I grew up listening to a lot of R&B and hip-hop, so did Jeremy. And it's kind of cool, like, knowing that I got to be one of those voices on one of those songs, like with Bob, you know, that's what we call him, Bob.
Bob.
Yeah, but, you know, like that was a real, like it was something I never expected that I would love doing so much, but it was sort of like a dream come true for me, like from being like a little kid listening to that style of music. And now with Zed, it's just, you know, it's crazy how big dance music is. Like it's everywhere. It's not just in clubs. It's like it's on every radio station, and it's really taken over top 40, like mainstream.
Absolutely.
And like Jeremy, again, like Jeremy's always been into like dance, like techno, like all sorts of stuff. I remember being like a kid driving around in his car with him, and it sounded like you were playing like a video game driving around.
Driving way too fast.
Oh yeah. So I feel like I never really knew much about this genre of music until I started working on Stay the Night, and I have so much respect for Anton, that's Zed, that's his name. It blew my mind. I thought his name was Zed. But we got to meet each other and when the three of us were in LA, and I don't know, it's a great experience. It's not something that I would just do or that I take lightly, you know. I mean, stepping away from where, you know, this is where my heart is, you know, like to step away from that means it's a really great song, and I really believed in it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you know, we fist pump to Stay the Night all the time. Every time it comes on the radio, I'm going to the car, like, oh, you're going to say it's awesome. So we dig it. What keeps you going on the road? I mean, you've been, like we were talking about, you've been on tour. What do you guys do in your spare time to chill? Like, what are you going to do after the show tonight?
Food's a big part of our lives.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's so, being on tour is really strange because every day is very much the same, but it's actually completely different because you're in a different place, you know, with different people, but the schedule looks very similar. It's this weird kind of thing, but the high points are always the shows, meeting people, and the food.
Yeah.
Because that's what changes.
I feel like the food might be number one in that priority
Oh,
list.
No. But that's what changes a lot. So that's always a fun thing after
Yeah.
we get off stage. We go to the bus and there's just food. And we're like,
I'm not sure what we're getting tonight.
oh, we've already put in our order.
Wait, what did you get?
I got wings and a bunch
Where'd
of
you
stuff.
order
Got
from?
some
Here?
sushi.
Sushi?
Sashimi.
Oh, I will be having sushi.
They've got everything in this casino, no matter what it is you want, they've got it. Whether
But is
be
it like
Asian.
sushi that you don't want to eat, or is it sushi that you want to eat?
That's debatable.
I might eat it anyways.
This album is quite a bit different from the first couple of albums. I mean, I was in high school when your first album came out, and I was kind of in that punk rock stage myself where I was listening to a lot of that type of stuff. This album is a little bit different. How have you guys, you know, as you've matured, gotten older, how has the progression of your music kind of tied in with the progression of your lives?
I mean, we are most definitely in our 20s, you know, and still every day growing and like, I mean, I hope that never changes our entire lives, but you know, just we're going through changes every day, you know, relationally and individually and spiritually, emotionally, all of it, you know, and this record I think is really eclectic, which I think really reflects who we are. You know, we're very, I don't know, I don't want to say inconsistent, but
Just all over the place.
we're all over the place.
Figuring out
Yeah,
what we
exactly.
what we
And I
really
think
love.
this record really reflects that, you know what I mean? Like you hear really heavy, dark stuff, and then you hear super poppy stuff, you hear funky stuff, you hear sad stuff, you know, I think was really a reflection of what we were going through when we wrote the record. I mean,
So it's a good mix of all three of you guys
Yeah.
and what you're individually.
Yeah,
doing.
totally.
Absolutely. Still Into You, definitely, let's talk about that for a second. Definitely a different kind of love song. I mean, it's not, you hear so many love songs on the radio and you're like, well, that's a song, that's that song with different words, which
Yeah.
was that song with different
Different
words.
words.
Still Into You, completely different. And I think that's why so many people connect with it. Tell me a little bit about how, you know, how did you write Still Into You and where did that come from?
Started with a thing that Taylor wrote on an organ,
Mhm.
actually. And I walked in the room like, what is that? It sounded so funny. It sounded kind of like a circus, kind of like, you know, it was
Yeah.
that riff, but it was on a different instrument. And when he moved it over to guitar, I was like, whoa! It really like stuck out to me as this kind of new wavy, you know, kind of like for me, I listened to a lot of like Oingo Boingo, the Cars, like it reminded me of that kind of stuff. And I was like, man, we got to try this. Like, this is so cool. And that was one of those songs, like, it doesn't happen often, but it was one of those songs that just, like, the words started spilling out. And I was really surprised at how quickly those lyrics happened because we don't have a lot of songs that are, like, about love, you know, in a, you know, simply put, like, about a relationship, you know. We've got, like, Only Exception, which was on our last record, and just most of our songs, even if they touch on love, it's a more complicated story, you know, and or it has like an undertone of like sadness, you know. And I was surprised at how quickly this song came together because I just really believed in everything that we were talking about. And when I started to write the chorus lyrics, I got nervous. Like, is it too poppy? Is this too much for Paramore? And Taylor kind of asked me like if I liked it, and it's so simple. Like, do you like this song or do you not like this song?
Yeah.
And I realized really quickly it was probably my favorite thing that I had ever said, you know, like lyrically, but it was also one of my favorite songs just as a whole. I love this song. And I mean, yeah, it's about monogamy. It's about like sticking it out with someone no matter what it is, you know, no matter how low the low is or how high the high is, you're with that person and you've made a commitment. And that doesn't always mean that everything works out perfect, but I like to believe now as a 24-year-old person that love is a real thing and it's a choice. After you fall in love, you make the choice to be in love.
Absolutely. You and Taylor have been writing music together since what, you were 13, I think I read somewhere? You guys have been,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, what do you see next for Paramore? Like, have you guys thought about a next album after this, or are you just kind of finishing out this tour? I mean,
One day at a
one
time.
day at a time.
One step at
One
a
day
time.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
One meal at a time.
All right, well, Paramore, they're doing a show tonight at Mohegan Sun. This interview online at KC101.com. Thank you guys for
Thank
spending
you.
time with us this afternoon.
Thanks, dude.